everyone and good afternoon. Once again, welcome to our weekly Youth of Substance talk show from Deliverance Church International Cycle. On our last episode, we got to talk about things that are affecting the youth during this time of COVID-19, and we discussed so much about things that affected the youth. And today, we're talking about relationship matters, and you've narrowed it to dating. We'll be answering some of the questions that youth have been asking about dating, like is it okay to engage yourself in sexuality while dating, or is it okay to like kiss your partner while dating? These are some of the questions that we'll be answering. And today I'm joined in by my fellow youth who are going to introduce themselves. They'll tell us their name and they'll tell us also their profession. So we are going to start from this end.
Thank you. My name is Joseph Batia and I'm privileged to be here. I'm an accountant by profession and also a actuarial scientist. Thank you.
Welcome, Joseph.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Judy Mwaura. I'm a business ready and I'm glad to be here.
Welcome, Judy.
Good afternoon, guys. My name is George Kesa. I am an IT expert and I'm very glad to be in your presence. Thank you, sir.
Today we are privileged to have a servant of God who is our guest speaker today. He's not only a servant of God, but I'm going to read for you his profile. He has done a degree in theology and he's also our sub-regional youth patron. He has also done scientific research in pharmaceutical industry, and he's also a life. Welcome, Pastor. Will you please tell us more about yourself?
Thank you so much. As you have been told, I'm Pastor Kevin. And just to add on what she said, I'm a family man, blessed with one beautiful wife. We are blessed with 2 daughters. We bless the name of the Lord. God has been faithful. I look forward to have a great show together with us tonight. And I know that we are going to enjoy this show. Thank you so much.
So to start us off, I'd like to ask the only lady panelist, Judy, to define to us what she thinks dating is. Because we've had youths who are like confused. They don't know what dating is. Like, is it a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, or is it the time when you're about to get married? Judy, kindly tell us what you think dating is.
Thank you very much, Leah. To me, I think dating is a relationship between a boy and a girl, that is a boyfriend-girlfriend thing, where the two of them are in love, so we say they are dating.
Okay. And George, what do you think dating is?
Thank you, Leah. I think when we talk about dating, what comes in my mind is that this is a time maybe someone has, whether it be a girl or a boy, or a man or a woman, has sat down and thought one day that now we want to begin finding someone he can be or she can be within a relationship. Now maybe they have made a purpose to focus and have exchange some words.
Okay, that is George's perception of dating. How about you, Joseph?
Well, I think dating is a love relationship between a girl and a boy, which is intentioned to go into courtship. So I believe that the intention of the relationship is what brings out dating.
Okay. So our pastor, can you kindly define to us what dating is, or maybe clarify to us what dating is?
We need to understand that dating basically is a generalized kind of friendship or relationship where you're trying to find out who is in your circle. Because you see, when you want to marry somebody, you don't just look at the outside figure, the way she or he looks, and you admire and you say, I'll marry this. There are things you have to go beyond just the real figure you're seeing, because beauty is not really just the physical part. So dating is that aspect when you're trying to find out, I have an interest in this girl or this lady. Can she or can he share into my vision as far as my life is concerned? Is she headed to where I'm heading? Or is she just somebody thinking of whatever, other things? Because it is very important for you to make sure that you get into a relationship or courtship or into marriage with somebody who you can share interests, desires, and visions, because it will be one of the worst things to marry your enemy.
Is it really important to date? Like, can we just meet with a person and then maybe just decide to get married? What's the importance of dating?
You see, one of the greatest tragedy in life, or the greatest mistake you can make in life, is to get into a life partnership with somebody who you don't share, or you cannot share a future. People with different desires or different visions in life. Because you see, marriage is not it's not a contract that you're coming in today and tomorrow you are out. It's a life commitment. So you imagine getting into a life commitment with somebody who you will always feel like cussing every day because you don't share visions, you don't share your desires. So actually dating helps you to understand the kind of person you want to engage yourself with. You want to get into a life commitment with. The reason we are seeing a lot of deaths in marriage, wife killing husband, husband killing wife, or killing their children, is because these people are trying to bring their future together, which is very hard because it was what we call like love at first sight. You saw somebody and you loved them and you never took time to get into. It's just like the same way you get into working. You cannot just get employed from nowhere. They look at your experience, what did you do in school and such. It takes time for them to allow you to get into what they want. So it's the same even in marriage. Yeah.
So is there a definite time like when you should start dating? Like at what point should you start dating?
Definitely there is a definite time or a particular time for you to get married. You need to be prepared psychologically that you want to get into marriage. No wonder even when you get into the law of this country, they will talk about under 18 being a child. Why? It's because they feel like maturity will come after 18. Why do they think so? Because somebody who is not mature enough, making sound decisions is very hard. And let me tell you, marriage, as much as is as sweet as it is something you have to want. It needs for you to be able to make it in that marriage. Therefore, there is a definite period or a definite time or season that you can now say, I think I am okay to get or to engage myself into marriage. Now this one is not like we are saying 25 years is the age, or 20 years is the age, or 26 years is the age. Why? It's because people mature at different levels. I can be at maybe 23 years, but actually I am mature enough, I am prepared. I can be at 30 years, and maybe that is when my maturity is coming in. So really you need to be prepared. But even as we talk about your maturity period, there is an age we discourage when it comes to marriage. For example, 18 years, 19 years, it's really not advisable because this is somebody who is just getting to know life. You know, you've been into school, primary school, secondary school, college, and now you're just getting into to know life. And imagine immediately you get there, then marriage is here, you want to get married. At that point, you really don't have a touch of really where life is. So sometimes we advise that the right period or time for you to get into marriage is maybe after you're done with your college, you've gotten into your working, and maybe you are working at least the basic level of education, like you've done primary, secondary, and then you've done your college. The PhDs and those can come later, but at least there, when you've gotten into your working time, where you are now able to watch over yourself and take care of yourself, make some decisions, at least at that period you can decide when you can get married. Yes.
Right. I think I agree with him, because you understand that dating, you must have already set your mind, and the goal is now you want to move from one stage to another. whereby you have prepared yourself psychologically, physically, mentally, and even you must ensure that your pocket is also well. And this means that at least you must be in a working place, and that means you have set your goals and your steps are well calculated. So that means when you are in the dating process, you have made or rather prepared your house ready to begin a basket that is full of things that will make you enter into a marriage. Thank you.
Okay, Judy, are you in agreement with that also?
Yes, I agree with what Pastor has said. When you start dating, one, I think you need to be ready for it. But you can't give an exact number of age that I want to start dating when I'm 20 or maybe 25. I can say I can start dating as young as I am, even if you're 20 or 19, depends with how maturity you are, right? So once you engage yourself in that dating, because it has its own commitment. There is that effort you have to put in there. So if you're not ready to commit to your partner, I don't think you should start dating. Yes.
Okay. Joseph, tell us your opinion about that.
Well, yes and no. I agree with what Pastor has said, but at some point I don't agree. Because sometimes love is coincidental. You just find yourself in love. So does it mean now that you have found yourself in love and because it does not have a purpose, now you stop the relationship? Because sometimes you might get into a relationship with someone and all of a sudden you wonder what kind of an animal is this? So these things sometimes are so coincidental, they are not purposeful. I don't think there is always any purpose in love. Yeah.
Just to be able to drop into Joseph's opinion, you see, yes, love is coincidental because I cannot say I'm now planning to go and love a certain lady. Then now you plan and you execute the plan. No. Most of the long-lasting relationships are relationships where you just found yourself, as in you're already in love with this lady without knowing. Now, at that point is now when you need to define where are you headed to in this relationship or in this friendship. As in, what is the purpose? Judy spoke about, you see, you can even begin to date at 19. I wish to just be able to reiterate or to be able to oppose whatever she was saying. Whenever you want to get into a love relationship that is just beyond friendship, there is something we call purpose. So, what is your purpose? I remember there's a time a lady came to me. She was young actually, just after class 8 and after Form 4, and she was telling me that she loves a certain guy. Then I asked her, what is your purpose of your relationship? Are you planning for marriage? Then she says that one time, maybe in future, we are going to get married. I told her that is not the right time. Because if you're thinking of some time in future, then actually you're making your strides too wide for yourself. You need to have thought about, now I want to get married. Then you think about, so who should I get married to? At that time, maybe you have a list of some ladies. Maybe it should be Leah, maybe it should be Judy, or should it be maybe Ruth or something. Then at that point, you will begin to analyze who they are according to you. Then there you will move to maybe doing a date. You can say, let me do a date with Leah to see who the kind of Leah is. Of course, at that point, you will not call Judy, Leah, Ruth, and all those. And now you have a date together and you're trying to tell me about yourself. You finish, tell me about, no, that is ignorance and foolishness. You call at least one, you have a date, find out who that person is. At a certain other time, you can call another person. But you really need to be so sober so that you don't fall for, you see, we men, we like love outside. I want to fall for the physical, which I'm seeing, which has its own part. But you really need to get the real person, and that one comes through dating. So the issue of coincidence can work, but please let it not go far. Then you realize this person I was loving actually is just a goat in sheepskin.
So, Percy, I have a question.
Yes.
You've talked about maybe you want to date, maybe it's George. Maybe he has identified me, he has identified Judy, and maybe he wants to know who Judy is, who I am. And maybe me and Judy are friends. So George comes, then he takes Judy for a date, then sometime he comes, he takes me for a date. Maybe when we are discussing with Judy, I'm like, hey, George took me for a date. So what will happen? Maybe you will start thinking, hey, maybe he's a player. How is he supposed to like conduct those dating so that it doesn't happen like he's maybe chasing her, he's also chasing me?
I really agree with what you're saying, because most men find themselves in such a trap. You see, the problem with us men, I'm talking as a man, is most of the time when I take a lady out for a date, I end up showing my intentions for the date. If I'll begin to ask very intimate questions that the lady will know actually I'm trying to woo her into my circle. But a good man and a sober man will just do a very plain date. Something that will not send questions to a lady to maybe think, maybe this guy is trying to do this or do that. So I just do a plain date like, when are you always in town? Then maybe we hook up, can we have lunch together? Something that will not make a lady think, maybe I'm trying to make steps towards. Because if you guys share, because I know ladies like share, oh, Matya took me for a date and all that, and therefore it ends up bringing a lot of misunderstandings, and most of these things even split youth groups. People split because I showed interest in several ladies. Sometimes I would advise that I can get to know you or get to know several ladies in the midst of other years. We are doing a rally together, or we are doing an outing together. And by engaging and all that, somebody will not know I'm trying to know them, but I'm actually using that as an opportunity to know the kind of people they are.
We have also talked about the lady who you've just told us about, who had finished Form 4, and then he told you that she was interested in a certain man. And you say that when you ask the lady, she said that maybe probably in future they'll get married. So that means that dating should be, as in shouldn't be long, should it be short or long? Is there like a specific time that you're supposed to date? Like, am I supposed to date for like an year, 2 years? Is there a specific time?
You need to differentiate between dating and courtship. Actually, friendship, dating, and courtship. Because a general relationship, if I may call it, it is friendship. We are just friends, yeah? Ladies like saying, let's just be friends, you know? There's a time I dated a lady and, I was trying to be serious, and she goes like, I think let's just be friends. It really broke me, but I said, anyway, it's okay. So you see, you have to be enemies somehow. So, friendship is very general, and friendship can run as long as it can. But dating is you're trying to be particular. You're trying to be a bit specific into this person. You're trying to move closer, but in a way that it will not raise eyebrows into this person. And sometimes it can raise, it's okay, it's no problem, because we always say better a broken relationship than a broken marriage. So it is okay. I was just trying to date you, I wanted to know you. So this person needs to know that this is a very general thing. I just want to know the kind of a person you are. No. So dating should also not be long. I cannot date you for 2 years. At some point you'll be wondering, when is this guy? Is he my chips one and one? Is an see? At least let it come. At some point you can just leave and say, I'm engaged. You see the way ladies say, you've been dating me for long until at some point ukiniambia situkutane tao, I think I'm busy, let's meet another time, because it has been long. So even you're dating, if I'm dating you, Leah, that dating at some point should bear fruits. It should not just be forever. At some point it has now to grow into a courtship, and if it's not courtship, it has to end so that maybe it goes into something else. Yes.
I understand that due to technology, we have these dating sites whereby you get to meet somebody and then maybe you start dating online. Maybe you've never met this person, maybe it's not even from your country or maybe from your region. But I do think it's okay to have an online dating.
Well, online dating is very tricky, I have to admit. I may not have tried it, but I have heard stories. Because sometimes if you are a man, every girl would like to put the best picture up there. So they will load a picture where they have edited, they have put the best. Sometimes they will steal pictures of their friends so that they can try to captivate you. So online dating it can be done, but someone should be very careful. I think after you identify the person that you want to date, you should try to meet them as fast as possible. In the case where they are outside the country, I think you can do video dating, where if you are talking, you do video conferencing, like if it's WhatsApp videos, so that you can know the real person you are dating. You might be dating a man who's pretending to be a lady. Eventually they will come to call you. You might be dating a lame person and you are not ready for a lame person. So I think it's a good thing, but it should be treated with a lot of care. Yeah.
How about you, George?
Thank you, Leah. I think, just as he said, it is very tricky actually, and I wouldn't advise him to go for it, because on my side, we know that dating, you need to know even the background of this person you are dating. So how will you be able to identify the friends of this person you are dating, like the family friends, like parents, you know? So it's very hard, and it can actually bring a lot of trouble there when you actually enter into a marriage, unless it is something that you can begin online, or rather you have met on Facebook and then you plan or you purpose to meet, so that you can now continue in each other.
And Percy, would you advise on online dating?
You see, like I said, dating is very general. What Joseph and George is trying to bring in is the serious part of the date. And that one is now at the point when you're dating is very general. I just want to know the kind of a person you are. So we can date even on social media or whatever, WhatsApp or whatever, just to get to know you or what did you do. In fact, for me, if you don't beat my circle on social media, that's even the best. After all, I never saw you. So we can end that thing there and we move on. Now, what I'm saying is, whenever you feel this thing can get more stronger or get more crucial, then like George said, that is the point now you can insist to meet the person, or you want to meet the person. There's this guy who, after dating online, he asked the chick that they may meet in town somewhere. So he went somewhere at GPO and now gave the description, like from the place he's telling the chick he is a different place, so that he can see the kind of lady who appears. So when the lady appeared, he realized this is not the lady I've been dating. So he disappeared and changed his number. So, but it's important for you to insist, if you feel that at this point you can get to a more closer relationship with this person, then insist on meeting the person. Because there are personalities that you may not know just by texts and by WhatsApp and those photos like Jose said. There are personalities you may not know. So when you meet physically, then you can know. And of course now do more serious physical meetings. And at that point you can get to know the person and see if that person meets your requirements or meets your desires, or he doesn't.
I understand that maybe there will be some security issues on maybe your first meet. maybe you've decided I'm going to meet this person, you've never met, you don't know him or her, and maybe this person comes, maybe he's a conman or a kidnapper. So how would you do that? Like, how would you meet him to make sure that maybe you're secure?
Most of the time what we advise people, and most of us youths make these big mistakes by meeting people for the first time, or even several or a series of times, meeting in private places. It is very, very much discouraged. It is always advised, until you guys can exchange rings, it's advised always to meet in public places. You reminded me of a certain lady who approached me and told me of a man he loved, and this lady wanted to actually get married to this man, and she was making the decision even before she met the man that she wants to get married to the man. And I remember after they met, she realized that this man actually is totally the opposite of what she thought. And at that point, the goodness or good enough, they had met somewhere in town or somewhere in a restaurant, and therefore it was easy for her to just tell him it's not possible. So they ended the relationship there. It is important when you allow all your meetings, whether you know the person or you don't know the person, always do your meetings in open places, restaurants, wherever you can go to Uhuru Park, Arboretum, or any other social places. It is advisable there, so that anything can happen. And just imagine if it happens that the person you're thinking is actually a con person, or maybe wherever, or a serial killer, God forbid. So it's important for you to make your meetings in public. Yeah.
Guys, this is really getting deeper, and I hope that you guys are learning something from us. So don't go away, stay tuned.
Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome to the Youth of Substance. This is a ministry in Deliverance Church Saika. We are under the leadership of Reverend Owen and Violet Wafula. We are young, prophetic, and transformative agents of light. We welcome you to find us on our Facebook page at Youth of Substance Saika Deliverance Church. You can become a member of this group by joining our church at Deliverance Church Saika behind Naivas Supermarket along Kangundo Road. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much for watching us on our first segment, whereby we're going to talk about dating, online dating, and the right time to start dating. And before we go to our second segment, I'd like to ask my fellow youth whether they understand the difference between dating, courtship, and relationship. Mbatia, would you kindly explain to us whether you know the difference between those three terms?
For me, I think that dating is getting to know each other, where you become better friends, more knowledgeable about each other. Courtship is after the intention of marriage is put forward. Like I know now, the dating has gone to a level that I want to marry. Let's say I have a lady called Sandra. So when I get to know her, we go out, we talk, that's dating. But from the moment that I will express my interest in marriage, like I propose or I tell her I want to marry you, I think from there the relationship becomes courtship. But relationship is a general term of friendship.
Okay, and how about you, Judy?
I'll say relationship is it's a general name we can say in, like now the way we were talking about the dating today. The relationship is the overall of it all. Then we now relate to dating. And for dating, I can say it's where two people are involved. They're in love. so they are dating. And about courtship, I think I can leave that to my pastor. Maybe he can assist. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gigi. So, Judge, tell us what you think the difference of the three is.
Thank you. I think just as they said, relationship is what carries all this dating and courtship. But now, when you go to dating, it might be different from two people. Maybe I have an intention of dating someone, or rather now I want to intensify the relationship or rather our friendship. So I try to go deep and understand or learn the things that my party wants to do, what they like, what they don't like, who they are, where they come from, such a thing. So dating is going deep and understanding the person you want to have a relationship with. And on the other hand, just as Mbata said, courtship is where now maybe you have understood who your partner is. Now you want to go to another level. You are going a level higher, at least to now you have made a decision whereby you want to get into marriage. So your purpose actually has been met, and the purpose is we want to get into marriage. Because you want to get into marriage, you now have to go to the rules and the regulations of marriage before you get into the marriage. Now that's now courtship, because you will have to go to the family, you will have to take your spouse, or rather your girlfriend to your home, so that your parents can know them. Courtship now.
Okay, so I think our pastor will now clarify to us what the difference is. That was my fellow youth a definition of the three. So, pastor, can you kindly define to us what those three terms mean?
Thank you for, I think, the response. You're not far from truth. Let me just try to clarify a few areas so that I make them clear. When we speak about relationship, actually relationship is not a general term. Because when I say I'm related, it means to some extent it can be maybe blood relationship, like we are brothers. When I say I'm in a relationship, that one means there's something just beyond relationship, because you can't just be related like generally. That will be friendship. So what you're saying general term, that one we can give it friendship, but not relationship. Relationship is more specific. So let me just dig deeper in these terms. When we talk about dating has no strings attached. There is no serious attachment when it comes to between a boy and a girl or something, or a man and a woman. When we say we are dating, there is no serious attachment. However, there is no point where we stop dating and we begin relationship or courtship. So it is an individual to know when has dating stopped and when has courtship begun. These two terms are intertwined in the sense that one of it gets into each to the other, but it's an individual to know when has now dating stopped. But dating, there is no serious attachment to it, but it keeps on growing. Yeah? The time you began going out, that was the initial part of dating. But as time goes by, you keep on getting more deeper and more deeper, and therefore it translates into courtship. I don't know if you understand, or translates into relationship. Now, when we talk about relationship, it means there is some form of agreement or commitment. When I say I'm in a relationship with a certain lady, there is some level of commitment that I have given to it. Yeah. So, if, for example, Mbatia, you say you are in a dating with Sandra, let me use your Sandra. If you are with your Sandra and you're dating, it means there is no serious commitment, there is no serious attachment. And at that point, you might also be maybe going out for a date, maybe with another lady or something. But immediately you settle on Sandra to be your only lady you're serious to. Now that one gets into a relationship because there's now commitment. I've put all these other ladies away. Now it's only Sandra. Now that becomes a relationship. Yeah. Now the more relationship grows. Now when it reaches a level when now you guys go to Pasi and you say, Pasi, we feel we want to get married to each other. Now that grows into courtship. Immediately you open your brackets to bring somebody else in your circle. Now that one will go to courtship, because when you reach to Pasi, he will tell you now, if that is it now, you will need to bring in your parents, let them know. Now I'll have to stand before the church and say, these two people have seen each other. You see, now that one will grow into a courtship. You get it? So dating will grow into a relationship, then grows into courtship. I hope I'm clear there.
So thank you, Pasi. Now I understand that courtship brings in or expands the bracket, where now you let, say, the pastor, your parents know that now you want to marry. So does it mean that when you propose, assume you propose without your parents knowing, your pastor knowing, doesn't that relationship now become courtship?
Actually, that is where many of us young people, we make a mistake or go astray. Immediately you're thinking, this lady fits me. Before even maybe, okay, if you propose to her at that point and she says yes, now the next step before you can move any further is now to go to the next level. Go to your pastor and say, I have found this lady and I've proposed to her and she has agreed. Would you give us an okay to move on? It's always good when a man alone goes to Pasi and says, I found. You see, then have a discussion with the Pasi on a few issues, because a good pastor will be able to question you on a few things so that now he's able to understand your level. If your Pasi says it's okay, now the next step is now you will go and pick your lady and now come to Pasi so that she can also approve to what you're saying, that actually it is true, that this we agreed and we are moving on. You see? Now at that point is now when Pasi will give you the next level, maybe sends you to your parents so that now you can go and be able to present yourself and let them know. Most young people actually rush to their parents to say, we found each other, we love each other, we are going to get married. Before even your Pasi knows. As a Christian, it is important. Spiritual matters goes ahead of biological or physical matters or natural matters. Why? It's because a spiritual father will see things that your biological parents may not know, or a spiritual mother for that sake. Maybe your parents may not know, and they will be able to advise you on how to go about. However, let me also just be able to go back a bit and clarify something. In our generation right now, when we say, when maybe Bati, you come to me and you say, I'm dating a lady, most of the time we mistake it to be already a relationship or to be courtship even. When I say I'm dating a certain lady, I'll see you like you're preparing for marriage or for a wedding. And sometimes somebody will ask you, so when is the wedding? That is the mistake we make. Actually, dating is always the basic level of you beginning to work towards marriage or something of the sort. So when somebody tells you, I'm dating a certain lady, if better you came to Judy and you say, I'm dating a certain lady. Actually, Judy, you should not be scared if you're thinking, Bate should be my guy. Dating is the basic level. You can still woo yourself and try to find how to get this merger. At that point, fighting is allowed to get. You see? But immediately he tells you, I'm in a relationship. That one closes the door. There is commitment involved. You get it.
Thank you, Pastor, for that elaboration. But there's something that is coming to my mind right now. You know, sometimes you say that once you have identified your partner, that is now in dating, and you want to enter into a courtship, this is where you bring these three parties. Your pastor comes first, then your two families. I mean my family and my partner's family. What if in the case whereby I realize a lady, like Lady X, and before I even approach her, I decide to come to you and I tell you I have identified a lady or a girl whom I want to have a relationship with. Do you call that courtship?
Now, when you say you have identified the lady, have you approached her? Has she agreed? Because definitely there has to be an agreement of part B. You might have identified, you've loved her, but you've not approached her. So even where she is, she's not aware. So when you come to me, the first question I'll ask you, have you approached her? Has she agreed? So if she has agreed, then now at that point I want also to meet her, so that I confirm that she has also agreed to your request or something. Then now from there I can tell you, you guys, you can go ahead, it's okay.
What if I just want to make sure that I don't make mistakes, but rather I want to make sure that my boat is really flowing well, it's a streamlined flow, and I am sure maybe she can be able to accept, but maybe I just want to get your direction, just because you're my pastor, and I know I don't want to do it outside the boundary, of Christianity, if that is.
Actually, what happens is, never be sure that a lady would accept you for a relationship, because you don't know how many men have approached her. In your circle you think it is only you. By the reason that she looks at you and smiles at you, doesn't mean you are the only cock in the village, you see. So you need to be sure. You need to approach her and be sure that she has agreed, you see.
Yeah.
When you come to me before maybe you approached her, we can only discuss on the basis of, I feel she's the right partner. What do you think? At that point, I will ask you some of the questions. What have you seen in her? What is unique about her? Such like questions. I want to dig into your reason to have, or the reason why you feel that she's the right partner. At that point, when we discuss so, then I'll try to see, are you just dreaming so much, or I think it's okay at that point. So at that point, I will ask you maybe to approach her. In case by any reason you don't have the strength enough to approach her, we can find a way of reaching her for you. You see, most men and ladies, I know you're hearing, the current generation that we are in, most men are not as courageous as those days when we were growing up. They would really love a lady, but a means on how to approach her becomes a problem. At that point, we can try to see where is the problem. Can we try to help or to assist so that maybe this lady can get to know your intention. However, I'll really challenge you as men, because you're going to run the relationship, it is important that you get the courage enough to approach this lady. When she tells you no, accept it and move on. If she tells you yes, it is okay.
Pastor, on the same question that George had, that maybe she has identified the lady in church, assuming me, I'm Julian the lady here, and George is also my fellow youth. We are fellowshipping together, and it happens that I'm the one who gets attracted to George first. Is it right for me as a lady to approach George and tell him my intention? Or can I come to you as a pastor and tell you, maybe, Pastor, I think George to me is a good man. I think I like you. Maybe you can find a way for me and you, we talk and we see what we can do maybe to make George get my intention.
Actually, I've dealt with such a case before. You need to understand that in dating, it's always good when a man hunt you, because men are naturally hunters. So it's always good when a man hunts you. Immediately you approach a man, before he approached you, a man will see desperation. And at that point, when a man sees you as a desperate woman, anything can happen. He will never treasure you as his woman, even after marriage. So it is risky. Now what you need to do, because there's a lady actually one time who approached me over the sec. That time I was not a pastor. And she was interested in a guy who looked like, actually, he doesn't even, as in he's a carefree person. He's not noticing the lady. And what I told the lady, what you need to do, show yourself off. You see the way the Bible says, Naomi told Ruth, go take a shower, put on cologne, do this, and position yourself. That is exactly what a lady needs to do. Position yourself in a place, not like physical place, where a guy can see. I remember when I was still single, back at home in our church, there's a lady who would come, and when I'm seated this, she would sit direct opposite where I am. And anytime I cross my eyes, she's looking at me. Okay, I'm not saying do that, but I'll notice her, and I'll notice her intention. Now what you need to do, position yourself, up your game. Find out, what does this guy love, like, what is his interest or something. Be the interest he's looking for. What, you know, those things we call the non-verbal communications. Be the non-verbal communicator at that point. I can assure you, you will win that man without saying anything. It will be risky if you approached a few people to let them know that you have an interest in him and he's not noticing you. You see, they will, finally that information will reach him and he will know that this lady has an interest in him. And what will he do? He will move as fast as possible and you will lose. You do your own non-verbal communications, do your own research around the guy, find out what he likes and all that. Be that person he likes. Before long, that guy will fall for you. Sure.
Thank you. Our viewers, I know these questions can never end, but you can channel in your questions on the numbers provided or reach us on our Facebook page, and be sure to be answered on our second session. Percy, there's something that you talked about, and you said that there are some situations whereby a guy comes and approaches a lady, maybe he proposes to her, and the lady accepts before they are going to see the pastor. So, and you've said that whenever that happens, they can go, okay, after he has proposed to the lady, they can go and see their pastor, and their pastor can tell them if it's okay for them to continue with their relationship. So are there circumstances whereby the pastor can say no? Like, he can say this relationship should not go on?
Definitely, there are circumstances where a pastor can foresee a problem. The reason you have a spiritual authority in your life is because he can foresee things which maybe you or you people as young people may not be able to see. For example, if maybe there is talk of an issue to do with Christianity, I know maybe that question will come later, can be an issue that your pastor may say no, especially when there is maybe one is saved, another one is not saved. It can be a reason that can stop both of you. There are some circumstances which maybe pastor may need to take more time, not give you a yes or no answer at that point, but maybe he needs to take a bit of time to dig into, or to find, or to be able to advise you. For example, if there is a diversity in age or something, maybe the lady is too old, not really too old, but advanced in age, there is a big gap between the lady and the man, he might want to be sure that you guys have taken consideration of such before he can say or give you an okay. So actually there are situations, as time goes by, maybe because of time we may not be able to exhaust, but there are circumstances that can make the pastor say yes or say no or say wait, so that he's able to dig through to get an assurance so that he can give you a go ahead. Sometimes there are pastors who will just want to know if a man is really serious, and you can just take a risk to say no, to see if this man really loves you and wants to take a step further. You see such like things. Okay, that is for some people just trying to see if the man is really serious or you guys are serious in such a situation. Yep.
Okay, on the same case, who should be the first one to maybe go introduce the other partner to their parents? Should the guy first take the lady, or the lady first take the guy to their parents?
It is always the guy. When you guys are walking from dating all the way to marriage, it is always a man who needs to run the show. It is always a man who needs. Remember, this man has gone hunting and he has hunted prey. So it is him who brings the prey home. You see, so it is always the man who runs the show until the end. Because you imagine, you take a guy in your place and say, I want to get married to this guy. Then your parents are like, does his parents know? Then you go like, they are not aware. You know, it will show like there's a form of desperation in why are you rushing? But if the guy took you to their parents, then you call home and say, my guy wants to come and meet you so that you can know him. It shows some procedure. There is always procedures to follow when it comes to matters, relationship and marriage. Yes.
And Judy, will you date a man who is different from your tribe? And do you think your parents will accept him?
For me, that is a very straight answer. I'll go for any man. Love has no boundaries. As long as we love each other, to me it's okay. The issue is, I don't know how my parents will take it, because it's not something that we have discussed about it. And just in case that happens, maybe we can find a way to sort things out.
How about you, John? Would you date a girl from a different tribe?
Absolutely yes, because don't even talk about the tribe. I can even go international because because this is something that it doesn't mean that you just have to open your eyes to the surrounding, but you also need to open your eyes to even to a higher level, because you might be opening your eyes to people who are around when there is no one who is fit for you. So you need to go wherever you know that there is someone who is fit for you.
Okay, Judge, I can see you're opening your eyes globally. How about you, Joseph?
For me, I think it's a bit different. First of all, I don't think my parents would be bothered. My mother and my father will not be bothered. I don't know about my relatives. I know some would be skeptical, especially the old people. They would say like, they are like married from our tribe, which is acceptable because that's what they were brought up. But the current generation that is coming up, I can marry from any tribe. My mother and father would accept it. I don't know about the other relatives, but that's always manageable, and some few issues are expected here and there. And I also accept what George has said. When you can't get it inside the country, you can decide to hunt internationally. And I wish him luck. Thank you.
As for me, I'm really not so sure. Pastor, would you kindly help us?
I know the issue of tribe has actually been a contagious issue, especially to our parents. Because most of we young people, we've grown away from our parents in places where we did not know tribes and all that. The kind of generation that is coming now is a generation where a father is from another tribe, a mother is from another tribe. So the children they get, actually they are not in aid of the tribes. But let me say this, even as I also quote myself, because I'm married from a different tribe, from Western and from Eastern. Those are two different sides. I remember when I went to my wife's place for initial introduction, actually they had a notion that people from our place, they eat people. So it was really a hard thing to convince them that I will not eat their daughter. So somehow the issue of tribe played some role there, because they felt their daughter will get married to a man from their own tribe, because all their sisters and brothers had married from their own tribe. The issue of tribe actually doesn't play any bigger role as far as you looking for a partner in your life. However, I want you to be very careful, because as much as tribe does not play any role when it comes to choosing a partner, it is important for you to take care of your parents wherever you're coming from. Not taking care in the sense that you don't get married to that person because he is coming from another tribe and your parents are insisting. But it is upon you to convince them to agree that man, to agree that woman from another tribe. Reason being, you can push yourself and marry or get married to that man or that lady, and all along your marriage will be a tug of war, battles from your parents and all that. You need to understand that you need a parental blessing in your marriage. Yeah? So it is upon you to convince them, sit them down, talk to them, agree with them, convince them that this man is the right person, convince them that this lady is the right person, so that they can buy them into your idea. When you do so, it is for your safety, it is for your blessing, it is important. So don't just throw your hands in the air and say, to hell with you, me, I'll go ahead and marry her and walk away. It will haunt you one time. Yeah.
Thank you, my viewers. Keep the questions coming. I'd like my fellow youth to maybe tell us the difference between a born-again Christian and an unborn-again Christian. What do you think the difference is, Judy?
A born-again Christian is that person who recognizes Jesus as their personal savior. While we say they are born Christian, yeah, they are Christians, yes, but maybe they are not yet saved. Yes.
George?
Thank you. Just as Julia said, born-again Christian, these are what the people, what the Bible says that they are spiritually saved Christians, spiritually saved Christians. These are people who have believed in Christ, and they have been baptized, and they are under a spiritual leader, and they also attend a certain, they fellowship in a certain church. Even though some, on the other hand, and born again, this is a person, maybe they go to church but are not saved. They do not believe in Christ, even though they are going to church.
How about you, Joseph?
For me, I would think a born-again Christian is not only the ones that say that they are born again and they have accepted Christ, is a person who has accepted to follow the Bible, to follow the law of the Lord. A person who does not only confess that they are saved, they are born again, because that's like is a tagline these days, is someone who accepts and decides to follow the law of the Lord. And an unsaved Christian is the opposite of that. Whether they come to church or not, as long as they don't follow the law of the Lord, to me, they are not born again. Thank you.
Pastor, as you clarify to us on that, is it okay, or rather is it right for a born-again Christian to date an unborn-again Christian?
Well, good question. Just to first deal with the first part of the question. These days we talk of 80% of people saying they are Christians. We say Christianity is 80%. But actually when you dig deeper, you realize that it is a very small percentage. Because the Bible says that many will say, or will say, Lord, Lord, we did this in your name, we did this in your name. But Jesus will say, go away, because I do not know you. Why? It's because you thought you are following Christ, but actually you are just following your own things. Now the Bible says that salvation comes when you believe in your heart and you confess with your mouth. You become a Christian. Many have done that and they have become Christian, or they have become born again, yes. But there is an aspect of walking away from your past, because that is where the problem is. Many are Christian, yes, but they have not walked away from their past. They are still doing worldly things. They are still doing their own things. They are born again, yes, but not delivered from their past. And that is very dangerous when it comes to Christianity. Because as you confess, you believe in your heart, and you become born again, then you have to be willing to walk away from your past. And that is where you will look for somebody like a mentor, to mentor you, walk with you step by step, so that you can come out of your past and become a strong Christianity. Let me come to the second part of your question. Should a non-Christian date a Christian, or a Christian date a non-Christian? Actually, the current challenge we are having as pastors is when our young people walk to us with somebody who is not a Christian and they say, I want to get married to this person. Let me begin from the initial part when we talked about dating. Why is dating important? Is because those are some of the things you begin to identify. I'll just say outrightly that it is not good for a non-Christian to date a Christian. It's not good for a Christian to date a non-Christian. The Bible tells us in Amos 3:3, and it asks a question: can two people walk together unless they agree? Now this is what we are calling spiritual agreement. You have to agree spiritually. I told you that every single life of a Christian begins spiritually before it goes naturally. So everything you have to begin spiritually. Before you begin dating, you will have to pray. Before you make any step, you get to pray. You get to ask God, what next step? So two people cannot walk together unless they agree. If I walk with a non-Christian, there are things we will not agree. Unfortunately, those are the foundations. If we cannot agree on the foundational matters, then I can assure you we cannot agree on anything. Now, when you read 2 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 14, and I just want to read for you so that you don't say Basi was just speaking from his mind. The Bible says, do not be yoked together with unbelievers. Then it says, for what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light? You see, the Bible is very clear. When the Bible talks about righteousness and wickedness, it's talking about a Christian and non-Christian. When it talks about light and darkness, light is somebody who is a Christian, received Christ, and darkness is somebody who has not received Christ. There is a difference in those two aspects. Now, when you yoke yourself together with a non-believer, you are endangering your life. And let me tell you, sometimes you'd say, you know, I will convert him. I will preach to him and I will convert him to Christianity. It is not as easy as you think. Immediately you guys come together and this guy is not changing, it becomes a problem. Why? It's because at that point, you know, you will be like, I think I can't convert him. So you just want to be there. And what will happen is this guy will begin to, he comes today, he's drunk, you can't do anything. Tomorrow he's beating you up, you can't do anything. Why? It's because you took yourself in such a trap while looking. Okay, let me say this even as we move on. Not everybody who say I'm a Christian, he is a Christian or she's a Christian. There are people who come to church just because they want to get a lady from church. Have you ever found men who say, me, I want to marry a lady from church? Not because I'm a Christian, but according to him, he feels ladies from church, they are well-mannered, they are virgins and all that. So they come hunting. And they will come very cool, looking right and all that. And you know, ladies will love fancy men, good-looking men with money, flashy, and all that. And because he has come with such a package, you feel this is the kind of a man. Just because he said, I'm a Christian. Then you get hooked yourself to him. Then when you get married, one day he comes, he's drunk, and you're like, I thought you said you're a Christian. Such things we've seen them. We are not just saying like, we have seen them, we have testimonies. Therefore, it is important. Please do not yoke yourself to an unbeliever. It is risky. It is dangerous. It will cost you your life and cost you your Christianity. By the time you walk out of that, you will be so haunted. Sometimes maybe you will have even given up on your Christianity and you will have lost everything.
Judge, are you in agreement with what Pastor said?
Definitely yes, because I understand that it is very, very hard sometimes if you are a really true Christian, you follow the Bible, you follow the law of the Lord, just like Joseph has said, and you have chosen to live in light. And then you go outside there, you meet the darkness, what Pasi calls wicked. This is an unbeliever. This is someone who has got a different belief, a different they have different beliefs, and it will be very hard for you to take your Christianity to someone who you don't know their background, how they've been living. This someone, maybe he has been brought up, or rather she has been brought up in a family whereby they don't believe in God, they believe in other gods. So to me, I'd rather go just for a Christian, because I know I don't want to lose my Christianity. I don't want to walk in darkness. I chose to follow light, so I have to follow light no matter what. So if I go for that person who is not an unbeliever, I'll be actually burying myself into darkness, and that one is not acceptable even in the Bible. Yeah.
I see. Okay, will it be okay to like start dating somebody who has just gotten saved? Like, say for example, a guy comes, or maybe a lady comes in your church, and maybe he or she gets saved, and then maybe you've noticed her or him, and then maybe you guys start dating. Is that okay? And maybe you've been saved for quite a long time, and the other person has just gotten saved.
I love the question. Let me say this. I really don't want to say yes or no in such a circumstance, but I would want the person in question who wants to date this young Christian to be very, very careful. There are people actually who get saved and they really mature within a very short time. They mean it and they serve the Lord with their whole heart without any reservation. But there are people who get saved, but it takes them a very long time to grow from being a young Christian to maybe being a mature Christian. You also need to find out the intention of this person getting saved, or you also approaching this person. Is it you who convinced him or her to get saved so that you guys can get married? You see, ladies will come to you and say, if you want to marry me, then get saved. See such ladies. Then the guy said, okay, because me are falling for you, let me get saved so that I marry you. Or sometimes a guy can get saved because he has foreseen that the only way to reach this lady who worships until heaven comes down is to get saved. So he gets saved so that he can get hold of this lady or find this lady. So it is important for you to find out what was the intention. Dig around, get the bigger picture. Do not just assume and walk into. It is quite a tricky situation. It is risky because this person is not mature enough. In our previous segment, I said marriage is not a walk in the park. It needs somebody who can handle very heavy matters. It comes with a lot of challenges that calls for somebody who is mature and knows the kind of God is up. So if a young Christian gets into marriage and he's still young in that way and meets these heavy challenges, they can easily give up and walk away from Christianity.
Thank you, Percy, and I would like to comment because you have quoted the Bible that we should not bring darkness and light together, or we should not be equally yoked with unbelievers. And when you were saying that, I also thought of our father of faith, Abraham. And I was thinking, where there is an inheritance, or where there is a destiny that is transgenerational, like the Bible says that the blessing of Abraham went to Isaac, and the blessing of Isaac went to Jacob. What I can see from these stories is that whoever they married was a matter of interest to their fathers, such that they directed them. We know that Abraham said to his servant that, make sure that my son does not marry from the Canaanites. And if God will not provide a man from my own house, then just make sure that he doesn't marry from any other tribe. The same happened with Jacob, who was the actual recipient of the blessing. His mother said that, or the parents agreed that this guy cannot marry like his brother, because we know Esau married anyone, a Canaanite or a Midianite. But for Jacob, his brother, because he carried the inheritance, and God had a purpose for him. So if God has a purpose for anyone's life, they can't just marry. Marriage is of paramount amount. Thank you.
Good. I love the comment, and actually, as you're saying, it is important. The person you marry is of a great interest, not just even to your parents or you alone, but even to your destiny. You can easily shut it by the person you marry, or you can easily open it by the person you marry. So these things we are talking about, they are not just some of the rules or laws we are coming up with. Just as Mbati is saying, they are biblical. We see them in the Bible from the beginning, even up to date. We see them in the Bible. That's why even the Bible says there is nothing new under heaven, because actually we see such things happening. Yeah.
Guys, keep watching and we'll be back shortly.
Hi everyone, I'm Joseph, the current chairman of the Youth of Substance. Guys, we do our charity works, hold our youth services every last Sunday of the month, go for retreats and vacations, and also do our monthly youth gesture. I'm so delighted to welcome you to our church, and may the good Lord bless you. Amen.
Guys, as you can see, we really can't exhaust all these questions, but keep the questions coming, and due to public demand, we shall have episode 2 of the same. We shall talk about the same, and we shall continue from where we end our session today. So I'd like our pastor to maybe give us his parting shot as he tells us the role of parents in dating, relationship thing. Yeah.
Okay. The role of parents in dating, relationship, courtship, and even marriage. Let me say parents play a very important role. Because before you met your spiritual father or your pastor, you've been in that home since you were born. It's your mother who gave birth to you, it's your father. So they understand you. And all along they had that future picture of you in mind, how they would want your life to be in future. And that's why I always tell young people, you need to be very close to your parents to understand exactly their desires for you. I don't know if you've ever sat with them for them to tell you, this is what I desire for you. This is what I would want you to become in future. It is very, very important because that one will guide your steps. Every decision you make will be pegged on that, so that wherever you're headed to, you know that this is what my parents would want me to become, and this is how they want me to live. So it is important. Sometimes it's important for you to understand or just to know the kind of man they would want you to get married to, or the kind of lady they would want you to marry. Not necessarily that is the person you will go look for, but just to understand their mind, what they are thinking about you. So that even as you make your decisions, you're making sound decisions. You know, sometimes you can even play as you're serving God, make a funny prayer like, God, you know, this is what my parents would want for me. Please guide me to such a person. Because sometimes it's also not good to be in strife with your parents. It is really not good. So, parents play a very important role. You as a lady or you as a man, immediately you identify a man or identify a guy or identify a lady. Sometimes you can go have a chat with your parents, like just a plain chat. This lady I found, she looks like this, nini, and such like things. Trying to understand them. They will guide you. These parents you're seeing, they have very good advice. They will tell you, my son, my daughter, this is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to go about. It is important. They walk with you. You see, a pastor may never be that close to walk with you because maybe he will just be there to give you spiritual guidance. But a mother who understands you from all the way childhood should want to walk with you. But you also need to understand where they are going overboard so that also you try and see how to contain it. Advise you on what to do and how to go about. In the current law of Kenya, immediately you come to a pastor and you say, we've found somebody to marry. There is a form a pastor gives you to take to your parents. When you go to visit them, they have to sign to show that they have agreed or to show that they have backed you up or they are aware. Why? It's because young people just meet in Nairobi, they get married, meaning by the time the parents realize you have even one child or two. So right now, law dictates that you have to take that form to them, they sign to confirm that they are aware that you guys are getting together so that they can be part of the whole process. It is very, very important. And also when it comes to matters dowry, all of you know, when a man is going to their lady to negotiate for dowry, definitely you will carry your father, you will carry your uncle or somebody else, a good negotiator who can negotiate for the price to come down. So, you see their role, they will be there to negotiate. In fact, you'll realize that when you get to the lady's place, even you as a man, you will be kicked out of the meeting. It will just be only your father, your uncles and all that, and there are people who come into the sitting to agree. You see? So they play a very important role. It will be so scary if you as a lady, you get your man into your place and actually he's just alone without even a support system. The parents will be so careful to find out when this guy is just coming alone. If the parents first told maybe their uncles or something of the sort, which is very, very important. I've handled a case before where this guy got a lady, and the lady, they are orphans. And these ladies were saying, we've been brought out by ourselves. There has never been an uncle. In fact, our uncles, they fought against us so that we don't make it, but now we've made it. So right now we can't go and consult them. Because now it's a time that the lady wants to get married. And because their uncles have frustrated them, they don't want to consult them. I told them, remember, they may have frustrated you, but a parental blessing is important. You can't bless yourself. You need somebody higher to bless you. Just let them know that this is the step you've taken, this is how far you're going and all that. Until that time now when marriage comes, then now you have them to come and and give you or hand you over. If it's a lady, hand you over to the family of the man. If it's a man, for them to witness that this is the lady and actually receive the lady into their home. So it's very
In 1 minute, can you guys give us your parting shots? Let's start with Joseph.
Oh, thank you. I believe that we have had some guidance from our pastor, and my takeaway is that there is no yoke between darkness and light, and that parents, both spiritual and biological, play a very big part in a relationship, and that a relationship that is going to courtship and to marriage is more than just do I love you, do you love me? It entails more than that. Be blessed.
Thank you once again, Leah. For me, I can say a very big thank you to you, Pastor. You have been able to clarify a lot of things. I now understand the difference between dating, courtship, and relationships. And I can say now, maybe that's why I can find myself in the same position. I've been thinking all along, I'm in a relationship, or maybe I'm dating because I have a boyfriend, we say we love each other, I love you, you love me. So all along, maybe you do things and you find things like you're not moving ahead. So thank you very much, Pastor. I really appreciate your advice, and maybe in the future when we get to maybe have that serious courtship, we can come to you for an advice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. What I can tell my fellow youth, as our pastor said, and also Mbati has also said it in the parting shot, that it's always good to differentiate and to know where you are, or rather your level, maybe your Christianity. As I say, in my own personal view, I don't take Christianity as a religious thing. Actually, Christianity, I take it as my lifestyle. And I think all of the youth, if they can take that kind of a path, will be able to make right decisions, even in our dating, in our courtship, and in our relationship, which is now marriage. Because I want to go into a marriage that is full of, glory, because everything is all about the glory of God. And if I can make a wrong decision during dating, that means I'll have the same problem even in my marriage. So let us make the right decisions, and which is spiritual. And also, as Pastor said, we seek our parents' blessing if they are. Of course, even if you have uncles, they're still your parents, and so you need their blessing. And I'm very grateful and glad that Pastor has actually fed us with things that will help us even to make the very, very rightful decisions. Yeah.
So, Pastor, you can give us your parting shot as you wind up.
Thank you so much. I really have enjoyed this session. But just a few sentiments even as we close down our session. I remember there's a question that I'm always asked by many people about the instant dating, instant proposal. When somebody just pops on you and they say, would you marry me? And some ladies would always ask, should I take that? Should I let go? What should I do? Let me say this even as I finish up. There is never marriage without history. Before you get in marriage, you have to build something we say history. That's why every couple you meet in life, they will always tell you, this is how we met, this is how we continued, this is how we got married. They had to build a history. Never marry somebody who you have no history of. And if you want to marry them, then build the history first, then get married to them. Reason being, it is that history that will be able to dictate or will be able to help you to understand these people. So, don't just, a lady pops in church, first Sunday, second Sunday, you feel, if I don't rush, this lady will be hijacked. So the third Sunday you are there, would you marry me? You don't know her, you don't know where she's coming from. I'm telling you that is hot soup. What you need is to build history. Now, once you have built history, for example, you came to this church, and you've been in this church like for 2, 3, 4 years. There's a lady who has been in this church. You've been serving in the same youth, maybe sometimes you are in the same leadership. You know her, you've studied her and all that. So, as I was speaking to you, when it comes to these matters, marriage, once you have a history with the person, you are allowed to walk to them and propose because you have studied them. And let me say, this is the best. The best type of marriage is a marriage where you operated together without knowing that you will ever get married together. Because you knew each other, you studied each other without any, some quote unquote, some mind or some thoughts about this person. That is how I got to marry my wife. We served in the youth ministry together. Unfortunately or fortunately, that was the person I hated most. And I was the person she hated most. Because I used to wear these long coats, very huge, sometimes. So, she really hated the way I used to dress. And me, I used to hate her just the way she was. So there was no any time that we would think that we can come together. Until that point when I wanted to marry. And I began to study ladies in the church. And I realized there's some uniqueness in this lady. You see, the kind of ladies we have these days. Immediately you take her out for a date because you're trying to see the kind of a person she is. She comfortably and instantly changes. She hides her negatives and shows off her positives. You can never know. But when you have opened yourself up and nobody's thinking anything, everybody will express themselves as they are. So you will know them. So when you know the worst side of a person and you know the best side of them, you can walk to them and actually propose because you have a history. You've never dated, you've never gone out with them, but at least with the experience you've had with them, you know the kind of persons they are. So you can walk with them and actually propose to them. And if they agree, well and good, the best, move on. That is the best person. Okay. Now let me say this as I finish. I want all young people to understand that the foundation of a marriage is not established once you guys are married. It's not established when you guys' foundation of marriage is set when you guys begin to date and begin to relate and begin to court. That is where the foundation of a marriage are set. Many people never realize that. Therefore, they use their dating and their relating and their courtship so badly, and they think that when they will come to marriage, they will set a good start. You start well in your marriage once you begin to date. That is the point where we say, abstain, do not have sex during that time because you're setting your foundation. When you bring in such like things, then you begin to put or poke holes in your marriage. These things are the ones that will affect you when you get to marriage. People who are facing a lot of problems in their marriage, when you go back to where the problems began, they did not begin when they began to live together. They began when they were dating and they were relating. It is very, very important when you take care of that. When immediately you begin to date or you begin to plan to get married, you need to ask yourself, what kind of a marriage do I want? That is the point. That is the point you set yourself. Before you guys can come before an altar and say, yes, I do to each other, both of you need to have a clear picture of the kind of marriage you want. That one takes place during your dating, during your relating, during your courtship. That is where you talk those things. That is where you iron out those things. That is where you need to agree even of how many children you need to get. You don't agree once you're in marriage. Maybe a man wants 5 or 12 and the lady is just thinking about 2. Then you begin to disagree because you never agree. When you agree the kind of marriage you want, do you want an ideal marriage? Do you want a spiritual marriage? Do you want a purified marriage? We'll talk about those things when we get into our next episode so that you're able to understand. When you have a clear picture of what you want, now you begin to plan towards it. You begin to say, now this is the kind of a person I want. If Joseph, this is the kind of who you are, you will look for a compliment. Don't look for the same person as you are. Because she will be carrying all your negatives and she will be carrying all your back towards it. That one will save you time, will save you a lot of stress, will save you even money. You will not go spending a lot of money to try to find which lady can fit. It will save you and you will move on. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about age effect and how it can affect your dating and courtship in future so that we are able to get it clear. Once we have it clear, I'm telling you, we will have a better future together. Thank you so much for having you guys. I hope you've learned a lot. May God bless you as we work together.
So we've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank my guests for the contributions that you guys have made. And a big thank you to our pastor who has really given us some good guidelines, advice, and he has answered most of the questions that we as youth were asking ourselves. Thank you so much, Pastor. And to our viewers, thank you so much for your time. And keep the questions coming because we'll have a part 2 of it. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to keep safe, keep distance, social distance, wash your hands, sanitize, and wear your mask. Thank you, and thank you so much. Till next time, bye.